What up, everybody? What's good? It's your boy Rich in the building. Real Talk with Rich is back. It's your boy Rich. I'm back here in the building. Shout out to the Black Comic Lords, Black Superheroes Forever fam. What up to the chat? Good to see each and every one of you guys here. Got a show tonight. Gonna get into it. Don't want to delay the time. But I give a congratulatory nod to the Baltimore Ravens. They kind of beat the brakes on my Houston Texans on yesterday. But I'm not mad about it. I'm actually, encouraged or whatever. My squad is, young. My squad has a rookie head coach and rookie quarterback. And we got plenty of cap room. That's all I'm going to say. We got plenty of cap room. So, yeah, we coming. We coming. Won't be this year. We'll be sitting at home with the Cowboys, but we on our way. And anyway, want to salute the Detroit Lions for winning today. Yeah, they had a very, very decisive win. That was some good football today. There's a game going on right now, man. I'm kind of, because I'm loyal to the Black Comic Lords and Black Superheroes Forever fam, you guys, I'm here. I really want to be back there watching the game. But yeah, so shout out to the playoffs, man. They've been pretty good lately. Also want to, man, that was a good game yesterday with the Packers. Man, got to say, can't be mad at 49ers are the 49ers for a reason. So it's going to be interesting, Detroit. Pack a lunch. That's all I'm going to say. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get into it tonight. We're not going to try to hear too long tonight. But, we do have a dope topic and a couple of articles to talk about, so that's we're gonna chop it up. Yeah, I appreciate you, Amir. Thank you. 1 in 100 podcast still keep me updated on the game. Yeah, man, I appreciate that for real. First article is a Screen Rant article for all of my Star Wars fans. All right, this is some pretty good news, and actually, you can go to the shop this week and pick up this book. Darth Vader and Grand Admiral Thrawn unite in the first look at Thrawn Alliance's adaptation. Thrawn Thrawn Alliance sees Darth Vader and Grand Admiral Thrawn joining forces for a mission while also revealing their first meeting during the Clone Wars. Grand Admiral Thrawn and Darth Vader must work together to eliminate a threat to the Empire in the upcoming comic adaptation of Star Wars novel Thrawn Alliances. As the two investigate a disturbance in the Force that Emperor Palpatine has detected in the Outer Rim, the story will also detail the very first meeting of Thrawn and Anakin Skywalker during their days of the Clone Wars. The official Star Wars website shared a preview of the first issue, Thrawn Alliance's comic miniseries, which adapts the acclaimed 2018 novel by Timothy Zahn. The comic is also co-written by Zahn and Jody Houser, drawn by Pat Oliphant and Andrea DeVito, and colored by Rochelle Rosenberg, and lettered by VC's Travis Lanham. The main cover art is provided by Ron Reyes. The plot involves two parallel stories. The first taking place shortly before the beginning of the original Star Wars trilogy, when Thrawn and Vader dispatched to the planet of Batu to deal with a new threat. Meanwhile, the second flashes back to the days of the Clone Wars, when General Anakin Skywalker and a young Thrawn first crossed paths on the very same planet. The first issue of the Marvel Comics adaptation will be released on January the 24th. Now, in this particular book or whatever, you're going to get to see these two guys, these two villains kind of get together, but they're going to butt heads. Or should I say they squads are going to butt heads. And, they got to kind of navigate through that, got to still work together. So looking forward to getting this. You can pick this up. This is going to be in your shop on the 24th. And, that's what's up, man. All you Star Wars fans out there, I know y'all love Vader, but don't sleep on Thrawn. For real. The comic books with Thrawn are dope. The books, from what I've heard, are dope. And, the stuff that he did, of course, in the Clone Wars, we know Thrawn for. And, of course, we just got a chance to see Thrawn in the Ahsoka series on Disney Plus just recently. So shout out to all my Star Wars peoples out there. Looking forward to that. Next article is a Fear Headquarters article. Michael B. Jordan and everybody's favorite director, Ryan Coogler, are getting together for a mysterious vampire movie. A new project from director Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, who worked together on the likes of Black Panther, Creed, and Fruitvale Station, is in development via the former Proximity Media production company. The movie is said to be so top secret that executives and buyers were forced to make the pilgrimage to the Beverly Hills offices of WME, the agency that represents Coogler and Jordan, in order to take a gander at the script and get details. The film is being described as a genre feature with a period of element to the story. This doesn't narrow things down very much, but thanks to the ever-reliable Jeff Snyder in his latest newsletters, we have a little bit more to go on. Snyder doesn't provide many new details, but he has heard that the movie will feature a vampire or vampires in some capacity. So basically, this is a period piece, which, Michael B. Jordan has been doing some good work. So, and he's got, Ryan Coogler attached there, teaming back up together to do this. Like I say, details are kind of sketchy. They kind of in the very big developing stages of this. So we might get a new horror movie somewhere along the line, 2025, perhaps. But they haven't really given out details. They're being very, very secretive about this. So that's what's up. Dalford says, I hope it's dark and metaphysical. Well, we see. I hope it ain't too reflective. Shout out to Ryan Coogler. I hope he got the Black Panther issues out the way. Yeah, just a little bit of shade. Just a little bit of shade. Anyway, our next article is a comic book movie article. Ironheart. Y'all remember her? Speaking of Wakanda Forever. Ironheart star Dominique Thorne reveals production has concluded. Strap in and get ready. Production of Marvel Studios' Ironheart believed to have wrapped early last year, but we have heard that the reshoots were required. Whether or not this additional photography was extensive, as rumors would have us believe, Star Dominique Thorne has now confirmed that filming has officially wrapped. Thorne, who made her debut in the MCU as Riri Williams in Black Panther for Wakanda Forever, revealed that the shooting for the Disney Plus series has concluded while chatting to Deadline at the Sundance Film Festival. She says filming has concluded indeed, and I can say strap in, get ready. It will be a ride, much like they all are. It is an epic journey and one that I'm very excited to share. Producer Nate Moore said he viewed Ironheart series as a direct sequel to the Wakanda Forever during an interview on last year. He says that the show was an outgrowth of how much we liked her in this movie and even on the page. So when we talked with Dominique Thorne, initially, obviously the character had been written to the script. She was the one and only person we talked to about for the role. When she said yes, we were down the road with the script, and we also started talking to Ryan Coogler about what the show could be. So the show is a direct sequel to the movie, and Riri is carrying on the experiences she had in this movie back home to MIT, and there are some interesting repercussions to her adventures that will set her on a fun course. So, yeah, Ironheart is coming. I know that that was something that they had kind of put on the back burner for whatever, but of course everybody heard about the reshoots, and the thought is, okay, if they got to do all these reshoots, whatever, it must be terrible, But they have finished, and I got to say that that's pretty good timing considering that Echo just ended, and so I'm not sure when they're going to put Ironheart on the schedule list because we don't have that yet. But since they finished wrapping, I'm pretty sure we'll get some news about 20 years later about when that's going to come out. So y'all stay tuned, man. Yeah, more Ironheart. Now this is interesting too because we recognize that Ironheart is actually supposed to be Tony Stark in the comics. We know that Ironheart is really supposed to be Tony Stark's protege, but since Tony is dead, right? We don't have that to go on. So this is going to be interesting to see how they're going to navigate this, and which is kind of interesting how they're going to they're saying it's a sequel to the Wakanda Forever movie. Okay, but looks like we're not going to get to see the Iron Man Ironheart connection, and that's kind of sad. Maybe she'll show up in Armor Wars if that is ever going to come out. What do you guys say? Shout out to Marvel Studios. You guys stay doing the most. Yeah. So that said, we're gonna look at this right here. Now, this is some stuff that's popped up online. When the news came out that they had finished wrapping up or whatever, these are some little fundamental things that might be for sale. I think they got some of this stuff on eBay already for the Ironheart movie and that kind of thing, promo material, stuff like that. Like I said, Marvel be doing the most. But anybody interested in some Ironheart socks? Yeah. So, my man Amir says, didn't have gray hair when the series was announced. Now I look like Obama after his first term. Hey, look, bruh, the MCU is the MCU. I don't really have a lot of commentary for the MCU, except to say that, they trying to, they have gone from being the, bullet train to the little train that could. they were literally flying down the track. Phases 1, 2, and 3 was a bullet train. Got to phase 4, started slowing down. Now we at phase 5. I think I can. I might can. I'm not sure I can. It's just not good. NBA Live Girls, what up? She said, I hope Ironheart does good. I do too. We got a super chat, Blurred Forever. Thank you for the super chat, sir. Problem was Wakanda was so trash, I have mid to low expectation. Come on, man. We got to think more positive. We got to.
Donation. It's a donation. I thought it was the trash. Don't be hitting on me. Thank you.
Yeah. And hopefully, what they say, undersell and over deliver. Maybe that's what they'll do. I don't know. She says, strap in, get ready. So, of course, we've heard those kind of words before. We kind of heard those words before, so we'll see. Wayne Asher said, to be honest, kind of getting burnt out on a lot of these superhero movies, Ironheart included. Yeah, well, that is a thought. Some people think that we're going through some superhero fatigue. Me personally, I don't think that that's really what it is. I just think that we've been getting subpar material, which is why some of us are experiencing some of this. If the movies are good, we're there, and we're going to cheer, and we're going to eat popcorn, and we'll see it 2 or 3 times. Yeah, but the stuff just has not really been as good as we would like it to be. 1-in-100 podcast said, I would love to see Dr. Ewan back on Ironheart. Her run was fire. Yeah. I don't know if we'll ever get another Ironheart run. That's the sad part about it. Hopefully, with them closing up, this wrapping up production, that she may get a series. I know that she's in the Iron Man series and is playing a key role in the series. But Marvel's thing is usually when they get ready to drop something, they'll drop something. So we may get another miniseries with her in the comics pretty soon. But will Dr. Ewan be writing it? I don't know. We'll see. With that said, y'all, we're going to take a commercial break, and it's going to be an extended break. So we will be back in a few minutes. Check on the game, get you something to drink, stretch your legs, whatever, strap in. We're going to get right into deep down the rabbit hole. Like I said, we're not playing with y'all tonight. We're going to get in and out like a robber. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Comics are different. Those things cannot be returned if they do not sell. Okay, so that means that if they buy 10 copies of Monica Rambeau Photon and nobody buys it, they eat that money. And your local comic shop is, the margins are very thin, right? Times are hard for everybody. And so what that means is that it gives comic shop owners incentive to be very risk averse, right? And so you could order a bunch of Batman and you know that every month people are going to come in and buy Batman. It's often characters of color, new characters, lesser known characters where they're like, I don't know, this could be good, but if I put this on my shelves and people don't buy it, I lose money. And I'm sympathetic to that. That's a real assessment that they have to make. So the way that we avoid that is you go in and you pre-order. So Paul goes in 3 months before the comic set comes out and says, hello, I would like to pre-order Monica Rambeau Photon #1. I'm not going to wait till it comes out. I'm telling you now that I want it. And at that point, they're like, okay, let me go ahead and order this. And in the comics world, that is the sale that counts. By the time you come into a store and purchase a comic book, that sale does not count. I know it is ridiculous. It is very silly. That is the way it is. The sale that counts is when the store orders it from the distributor. That is what they are counting. And so what that means is that when you go in and you pre-order things, it actually gives that store confidence. Like, okay, Paul said Paul's going to be back and spend his $5 on this book. So we're good. If we order this one, we know it's going to sell and we can pay our rent. We're not going to be eating this cost this month. The best thing to do is your subscription or your pull list where you go in and you say, I want you to put these in every month for me, right? And then they will set that aside in a box.
Message. Where's our black real estate in comics? What do I mean? Let's check out Black Panther. He is gone from the MCU for reasons. And what is happening in the comics? We can complain all day about how our champion is being treated, but we don't own that character. Look at Milestone character, curated by one of the greats, Dwayne McDuffie, my guy, but we don't really own or control any of his characters. DC does. So I'll ask again, where is our black real estate in comics? Meet Delta Dogs from Millennial Comics, created and controlled by us, where story sits in the forefront. Delta Dogs is more than just black characters being black for the sake of being black. This story is about 7 cousins that gets into an encounter with a mysterious glowing stranger that changes their lives forever. And with their unique abilities, this family may be the one thing that can save their hood that's being ruled over by a vicious super gang with an ex-criminal as their leader and other superheroes that looks the other way when it comes to their environment. This will be an impossible mission to pull off. Grab these books in our hardcover Ultimate Edition bundle at millennialcomic.com so we can really have some skin in the game when it comes to the comic book industry. Keep doing y'all thing, Black Comic Lords. Peace.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Danny J. Quick here with Ace Blade Comics. We got 6 issues of Ace Blade, 1 through 6. The 7th one is now live on Kickstarter. We could definitely use your support. We also have titles like Scarlet Ranger 1 and 2, created by Bro Lamb. We got Harlem's Renaissance and the Ballad of the Black Rose. And we got Lumberjacks 1, 2, and 3, which is about an Ethiopian prince who is displaced. And he has this necklace that gives him superpowers that he inherited from his grandfather. But he has to go through several trials to unlock the powers and abilities. So definitely check us out. You can find us at Fourth Wall Productions, fourthwallpros.com. And like I said, on Kickstarter right now. So I appreciate y'all, Black Comic Boys. Thank you for the support. And thanks for doing the right thing for the community.
This is Derek Harrison of Black Comic Lords, and I'm here with Greg Burnham. You might know him from Tuskegee Airs. He's got several other titles, and this is a new one that's coming out in November.
November 22nd, Little Rock Files. It was a story that we originally did in Noir is the New Black, which is an awesome anthology y'all need to get if you don't have it. But we did a 6-pager in there. And we ended up getting asked to do a full book. So the interiors, I'm holding this one. These are 2 of the covers. The interiors are being done by Quinn McGowan, who did this book. Who did this poster cover. And then Marcus Williams, my co-creator on Tuskegee Airs, he did the art for this cover. And we also put like our original 6 pages in the book, just so you can have everything that we've done so far. It's a 1980s noir detective story that takes place in Little Rock, Arkansas. We actually put some reference some real things that were going on back in the time as far as the drug trade and dirty governors that turned into presidents, but that's a different story. Check it out, November 22nd. It will be in comic shops. If your shop didn't order it originally, get in there and ask them to get you a copy. We're trying to do some really good stuff with this book, and we appreciate you.
Yo, we back. Appreciate that. Shout out to all the creators that we feature here on Black Comic Lords. Want you guys to give them guys a little business and, support Black creators and Black-owned projects. That's what's up. So, tonight we're going to get down the rabbit hole. That's a segment of our show where we get a little deep. And so what I wanted to do is I pulled this off of Reddit. Message boards don't really pop like they used to, but Reddit is one of those few message board places that still does. Now, this particular Reddit post is about 9 months old, but it rings true. And it simply says, comics are a wonderful hobby and a terrible investment. Now, this is someone's opinion, okay? But we're going to read the article a little bit, and then we're going to discuss it because there's a ring of truth to this. So it says, comic books are a wonderful art form. Collecting them can be a very fun hobby. Investing in them is a terrible idea. The chief reason comics are valuable is because of rarity. Thousands of issues of Action Comics #1 were read and enjoyed and then thrown away in the same way the Sunday newspaper is, including the funny pages. 200,000 copies of that book was printed. Less than 100 remain. Now that thousands of collectors keep pristine issues of every comic they buy, now no mainstream comics published after the mid-1980s are rare by any definition. I want to say that again. Now that thousands of collectors keep pristine issues of every comic they buy, no mainstream comics published after the mid-1980s is rare by any definition. The values of comics come largely from the fact that it was unexpected. For example, Batman had a lot of silly villains in the Golden Age. Riddler was one of them, and it wasn't until 20 years later that he became a regular member of Batman's Rogues Gallery. Now, his first appearance is incredibly valuable precisely because no one thought it would be at the time. Ironically, modern quote-unquote key issues are often marketed as such, causing more people to buy them and causing more high-grade copies of the book in circulation, lessening value. Some modern comics have become valuable, but it's impossible to predict which ones will hold value and which one will immediately lose value. Typically, there are first appearances of characters who become very popular, but many characters are introduced and quickly forgotten, or stories which are widely discussed but never reprinted, more and more rare as more and more books are reprinted in trade paperbacks. Buying every comic printed by DC and Marvel for $4.99, hoping one of them turns into a gold mine, is a terrible investment. Years ago, I read an article. I think it was Time Magazine. It was a Time Magazine article. And this gentleman had saved his comics, and his thought was he's going to use his comic collection to help fund his daughter's college education. Well, he went to go cash in on those books and found out sorely that his collection was not worth what he thought it was. And, you know, part of the reason being is that they, especially back in the 80s, and they began to reprint a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff got reprinted over the years. Those books lost value. So the question is, you know, are comics valuable? And some comics are valuable, and most comics are not. And that's why we are a proponent of collect what you love. The spec market right now is not healthy. There are guys who have channels and guys who continue to talk about books and the prices of books, the FMV of books, you know, this, that, and the third. You're gonna see that it will never 100% go away, but a lot of the books themselves are just not worth the money. They're just not. They're just not. Everything is supply and demand. When you have too much supply, there's no demand for it. I love something that Mr. Robert Foreman says, you know, what he thinks is rare is not what everybody call rare. You know, people think that certain things are rare, and he's like, that's not rare. You may think it's rare, but it's really not. And most of the books that we love and like and this and the other, they're not rare, which means they're not going to have any value. When you go to the comic shop and you put your $3.99 and you put your $4.99, your $5.99, there is a thought that this book is not going to retain value. Now, some cases it may, but if you're just speculating that this book is going to be worth something in the future, there's always that chance, but it's not a sure investment. You know, comics are to be treated as alternate investment. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But don't get mad if you lose your shirt on some of this stuff. That's why, we tell people, collect what you love. Do that because, and here's the thing, do that without any regrets. Because if you collect what you love, you'll be attached to your books, and there will be no need to be like, well, I spent all this money on these books and now they're not worth anything. They're worthless. Sentimental value is the best value, in my opinion. And, Dwayne Asher says, again, to be honest, trade paperbacks are better to me price-wise than buying floppies, $5 to $8 an issue. Absolutely. And 1 in 100 podcast said this is the exact reason why I'm buying trades for modern books. These are things that we have to look at as comic heads and comic collectors. Can we afford to just go to the shop week after week after week after week to buy these books and expect to get something for them later on in the future? It's almost a fool's errand. And that's not to say that some books won't have value, because back in the day when Wizard was doing a thing or whatever, one of the things that they would tell people is buy multiple copies of comic books. And, if you can afford to do that, have at it. But at the same time, they were telling people to buy multiple copies of books. That way you'll have a copy, you have one to flip, and one is the slab or whatever. But that's given the thought that your books are going to retain some value. A lot of these books, it's like a car. You drive it off the showroom floor, it depreciates. Now, there are going to be books that are going to hold value. Shout out to all my Golden Age collectors. A lot of Golden Age collectors, they're not batting an eye what's going on right now, because those books are very rare, very rare. And especially if you have them in great grades, in mid to high grades, you can make a lot of money doing that. But everybody's not a Golden Age collector. Everybody's not a Silver Age collector. But for those weekend Wednesday warriors that go to the shop, that money you're spending week after week after week after week, if you look at it through your collection, say, one day I'm gonna flip this. I don't want to break your heart, but you really can't trust that 100%. Best thing you could do is, when you buy your books, keep them in pristine condition, because we know that the people that have the higher grade books, they get the most money. That's why 9.8s or whatever, people get disappointed when they don't get a 9.8 in their books, when they send them to CGC or to these other grading companies or whatever, because a 9.8 or a near mint book is going to hold more value, is going to sell for more than, say, a 9.6, 9.4. And I'm be honest, it's almost ridiculous. You could literally have a 20, 30, 40% drop in value by 2 points. Ask somebody that got a 9.8 or a 9.6 when they thought they was getting a 9.8. They could have got the 9.8 for $100, but the 9.6, you can get that for like 40. It gets crazy. H&A says, shout out to me on that 9.8 comment. Yeah, and that's for everybody though. I remember, shout out to Herschel. Herschel sent in a Ultimate Fallout. He said it was clean. He thought that book was nice. He thought he was going to get a 9.8. I think it came back out like a 9.4. Man, was he disappointed. Because we're talking about money. We're talking about money. And, again, some of these books, they're great to have in your collection. But if you wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm going to sell my books, you're not going to get what you paid for them for. That's just the reality, which is why a lot of people don't mess with the modern market. A lot of people, to Amir's point, 1 in 100 podcast, people get into trades. Because the floppy game is it's a fickle game. Style so serious as counter. Why do people buy slabs they can't read? People buy slabs because I can't speak for everybody that buys slabs, but I will tell you this, that when someone slabs a book, it is to do one or two things. It's to keep that book in their collection where it's like, okay, this is one of my favorite comic books, or this is the comic book that's going to have some value. That's why 9/8 comics, if you're going to slab a book and you can get that thing in a 9/8, that's what you want. But like if the book is not rare, or if that book is not like a silver age or a golden age book, mid-grade like 5.0, 6.0, whatever, that's worth slabbing, whatever. Everything that people slab is not slab worthy, I'll say that. But for the collector that just wants to have like a collection of books, shout out to Mike Carson, who has a complete run of slab books in Static. He loves Static as a character. He loves his books, and so he has these books preserved, because that's part of slabbing, is to preserve your book. It's not to crack it open and read it. Some people, they buy their books like that and they slab everything. I'm not a fan of slabbing everything. Some things just should be read to be enjoyed or whatever. Everybody, you don't have to slab everything. But some people, that's their deal. That's what they like to do. And I'm not hating on it. If you want to spend $40, $50 sending your book off to CGC, and that book is really not worth $4 or whatever to get it, it's automatically worth $40 because it's been encased in a slab. Now, are you going to get that? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? I have bought slabs for $10, you know what I'm saying, in auctions. But most of the time, if you got a 9/8 slab, you're going to pay at least $40, $50 the cost that it took to slab that book, on general principle. But you don't get, now that's just me, that's just my opinion. But, when it comes to slabbing books, whatever, I mean, to me, it makes sense to slab a Fantastic Four 52. It makes sense to slab a Strange Tale 169. It makes sense to slab a Ebon. It makes sense to slab a Black Man comic book. It makes sense to slab books that are rare and books that are highly sought after. Let's get to some of these comments. Frustrated says, we've been hearing about this since the 90s about how bad the investment in comics is. It is. I mean, you're going to continue to hear it, because I think Frustrated, there was a time when people, really believed that they had books in their collections that were worth thousands of dollars. Right now, the market is down. The market is way down. And the question is, are we going to hold, can you hold out till it gets better? Good luck with that, because the MCU is not producing the excitement like it used to. It's not generating the excitement like it used to. So people are not even tripping about books. And think about this. When a movie used to come out and they used to put first appearance up, people go out and try to grab that book or whatever. And there were people that would sell that book or whatever. Look for the prices of those books. I remember when WandaVision came out and everybody was running to get the first appearance of Vision, a White Vision. And that book was going for crazy money, right? You can get that same book now, $30. One podcast says, I never collected on spec or to resell. I'm a reader. I have my keys, but I've never collected for the sole purpose of having major keys. I don't have a problem. Now, here's the thing. If you like collecting keys and you love collecting keys, that's what you should do. That's what you should do. However, like I said, collect what you love. Now, like Amir, I'm a reader, so I like to read books. So I'm not going to go after the hot book. I had a season in my collecting where I was doing that. I don't do that anymore. I just don't. I've learned that the comic industry is like the bus. There's a new deal 15 minutes away. You can find, there are books that you can actually wait on to get, and it'll come around. The opportunity, when it comes around, you got to be ready to pounce. But again, that's if you want to play the FOMO game. A lot of people, fear of missing out. If I don't get this book now, I won't be able to get it. I've done that, been burnt. I'm not doing that. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. You can't you can't pay mortgages and pay bills going after spec stuff. No. If you ain't got it like that, you got to know that you ain't got it like that. Don't be out here trying to catch the next hot wave or whatever. Like now, it's a buyer's market. If you want keys, the time to buy keys is now. That's not that can be perceived as spec, right? The fact that the market is down and you can buy these keys for cheap now. But I'm talking about it being an investment. And so think about your own collection. What books do you have in your collection that you can say, you know what, I can get some change for this here. This here, pennies on a dollar. That's just how it is. Chad says, I always bought books to enjoy and not try to make money. And I think that's a smart perspective to look at, because again, if you've ever been someone that's been in a pinch, I was like, man, I got to sell these books. And I've seen guys do it. They get into a pinch, they sell a book or two, and it helps them. But in this day and age, you're not gonna get with like an Adam and Legend of Blue Marvel #1. I got a notification that one came up for sale recently, and it was a 9.8, and it was like they wanted $900 for it. That book in general is down, but it's kind of like been up and down. It's really been up and down. It hasn't been crazy, but that book has took a hit, which all books really have taken a hit in this economy. The frustration is I think key collecting is bad business because those keys show up and die so quick, and most of the time the key is a random book in the storyline. True. Bang Bang HD Media says, yeah, I would rather collect rare comics to sell, but you have to have patience. That part, you definitely have to have patience. I mean, part of going to cons, one of the cool things about going to a convention is you see these dealers with these books. You be like, man, I need to. And you got to have deep pockets when you go to a con, because you're going to see something you're going to want. You're going to see something you're going to want. But again, I'm an advocate of collecting, what you love. So if you're a Spider-Man guy, I understand if you collect Spider-Man keys. I understand if you want the first appearance of the Lizard, if you want the first appearance of Gwen Stacy, or you want the first appearance of this character, whatever. I understand that. But when you're just kind of like getting the first appearance of this character, it's kind of crazy. Now, since the Black collectors, we collect Black books, or what we call Black keys, and we may not necessarily be fans of everything, but we'll collect them because we have a sentimental attachment to it. Amistad, what up? Brooklyn Capricorn is in the building. I've been reading since 1972. The job of reading. In the 90s, people bought 2 books, one to read, one not to touch. I could never roll like that. Yep, that's kind of how they did it. Shout out to Wizard. That's why Wizard Magazine ain't in business today. You can go to your comic shop and they'll have a whole long box full of Wizard comic books. I mean, not comic books, but Wizard magazines for sale. And Wizard was the bomb back in the day, but they not no more. And they gave out a lot of bad advice. I think they may have given some quote unquote good advice, but they're not even in business now. And magazines are just not even it no more. Man, I just found out that, speaking of magazines, Sports Illustrated, this is just a side note, Sports Illustrated had laid off all its people. Sports Illustrated is fixing to, is basically dead. And I know some of you guys are collectors out there, so you might want to go out there and try to find, here's your spec for the night. Find you some Sports Illustrated books, because some of those books are going to go for some change, because they just laid off the whole staff of Sports Illustrated. Chad says, finding a lot of books I've been wanting in the past for great prices now. Yep. SR said, I just saw 9.8 Blue Marvel set, 1 for $5 for $11.99. Yeah. They're trying to hold on to that value of that book. Because that book there, that particular run in that book there, number one especially, purely speculation. Purely speculation. You know, we joke on our show about, you know, when the Marvels came out, the thought was Blue Marvel was going to show up in the Marvels movie, and it did. And all of a sudden, we kept seeing these action figures at Ollie's going for $7.99, $5.99. You know, action figures, Blue Marvel action figures. And I was like, where did they get all these action figures from? Like, well, the thought was Marvel, I guess they shut it down or whatever, because they can't do none of this without Marvel licensing the product. So they had all of these books or all of these action figures that they were supposed to be selling, and they wind up shipping it to Ollie's to sell. That was a sad situation. What up, Charles Stewart III? What up? Good to see you, sir. But yep, you got to have patience for sure. When you doing, you know, collecting and that kind of thing, you know, there are different ways to collect. You know, I know guys that collect, like Robert Fordham. He collects foreign editions of books. You know, we got a brother in our community named Rico. He collects a lot of historical, very rare comic books. You know, there's different ways to have fun in the hobby. But if you're going to the shop every Wednesday, getting this book, getting that book, and you expecting that book to retain some value, and it's like putting your money into a pit. Now, like I say, if you love doing that, love collecting covers, love collecting art, that kind of thing, and you understand that you may not get, you know, equal or greater value for your books, have at it. But, you know, I think that, you know, one of the reasons why I want to talk about this tonight is because, you know, a lot of us got a lot of long boxes. And we spend a lot of money on these books, thousands of dollars on these books. And when you look at your collection, do you think that all the money you spent, can you say with assurance that you're going to get your money back and then some? Some of them will be happy just to break even. You know, go talk to some of these guys that have sold collections. Find out how much they got for their collections. Collected for years and got pennies on a dollar. It is what it is. It says, H&A says, I went into Ross and they paid me to take a few Blue Marvel action. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yep. 1-100 podcast say hell to the now. Yeah. They listen, bro. That's part of that's the reality of being a collector. Summer 2024 comic book yard sale. Yeah. He said, "Oh, I know my Steel Siege #1 is worth nothing." Again, it's about the value that you set for your books. Now, like I said, some books, you know, I have a Dwayne McDuffie signed book. One of my favorite things is a Shadow Cabinet Zero signed by Dwayne McDuffie. And I will never probably part with that book because Dwayne McDuffie is my favorite comic book writer. And so I'll keep that in my collection. Even if somebody will try to sell it, will try to get me to sell it, I probably will keep it. It's a Shadow Cabinet Zero. Not worth no money, but the fact that Dwayne McDuffie, one of the most prolific writers in comics, signed this particular book, and I have a certificate of authenticity attached to it, I'm keeping that in my collection. That, you know, some stuff is just priceless. You know, no, not selling that. And those are the kind of things, hopefully you have enough of those kind of experiences in your comic collection to where, you know, there will be certain books that will hold a space in your heart that you was like, you know what, I'll never part with this. You know, but there's some books that we may have like, man, I know some people that want this book, and you might get a few dollars for it, and that's great. If you can collect and make money, I'm not going. Who am I to say don't do that? I'm saying have at it, but just understand what comes with that. 1-on-100 podcast says, trust me, I have books that will never leave my collection. Yeah. But that Tom King Batman got to That's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah. Yeah. You probably gonna have some folks like trying to sell right there next to you, trying to sell Tom King. Man, I got this Tom King, I got the full run. I got one for sale. Like, no. Yeah. He said, I agree. I have the whole run of Stormwatch that I would never sell. And again, like I say, there's certain people or certain books that, you know, ain't selling. You know, it's like my Black Lightning Volume 1 run, issues 1 through 11. They ain't selling that. I got multiple copies of issue 1. I might sell a copy of that, but I have a Black Lightning signed comic book by Tony Isabella slab that I'll never sell, because Isabella created along with Trevor Von Eaton. So that's going to stay in my collection. I'm not selling that at all, because that's my favorite character. This is the guy who created it. He signed it. You know, I'm keeping that. Bison for Life says, I've included instructions on what to do with my collection in my will. That's what's up. And that's the other thing too. If you pass, what are your family going to do with your books? And that's something that's very morbid that people don't like to talk about, but you got to have that conversation, because your books become an albatross to your loved ones. If you have not left specific instruction as to what to do with your books, you know, that can be a problem. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, let's say you got books in your collection that are worth thousands of dollars. Well, to your loved ones, if they don't know, shoot, it's just a comic book. Man, give me $5 for this. you know, don't do that to your family either. You know what I'm saying? Let somebody know what's what in your collection. Bang Bang Me, it says, I just started recollecting them just for the read. I still enjoy a good story. Absolutely. I enjoy good stories, and I read comic books for good stories. And, you know, it's just something that I just really dig. Chad's Cousins said, Black Panther issue 5, first appearance of Shuri as Black Panther is finally affordable for me. Yeah, a lot of the books, like I said, they've come down. I've gotten, you know, when a couple of years ago, when prices started to drop, is when I was able to get more keys in my collection. I was able to get my Green Lantern 87, the first appearance of John Stewart, for a good price. And I remember that book being for $400 or $500 easy, and I got mine for like $250 when I bought it. So yeah, Strange Tales 169, first appearance of Brother Voodoo. That book, you can get that book for under $100 now. But at one time, that book was $800 raw. So it's a good time. If you got the ends, you can get a few keys. You know what I'm saying? But we say collect what you love. It's like if you got a particular character, that's your character. Rock with that character. Then you can collect on that line. Batman is my favorite comic book character, but I don't collect Batman like that. I read the regular run. Every now and then I will go and I will find notable keys or notable things that connected to Batman. Matter of fact, I bought a mystery lot of books recently, and it's like $5. It was like 10 comic books in it. So opened it up or whatever, right? And there was a Batman book that had a major key in it. Now, here's the other thing too. What we may call a major key and a minor key are two different things. But this was a major key, according to CLZ. But I got the first appearance of the Court of Owls. And I paid less than $5 for that book and got a major key out of it. So there's sometimes there's a risk, and sometimes you get rewarded for the risk. But that doesn't always happen. Collect what you love. Collect what you love. If Captain America is your guy, then collect the Captain America stuff. Collect the keys or whatever. I can recommend a good story to you, but if you know you're not a story guy, then stay away from it. Me personally, I like stories. I don't mind spending money on floppies for good stories. I don't mind spending good money on trades for good stories. I'm hunting a book right now, and I've recommended this book before. I read it digitally, but I want the book in my collection. And that is The Devil's Advocate by Chuck Dixon. He says, yes, I don't feel bad about Rich loving Batman, but don't collect his books like Listen, let me tell you something. Batman has been my favorite character because that was the first character I would say I enjoyed as a kid. I grew up watching the 1966 Batman, Adam West, Burt Ward, Batman on TV. So I've always had an affinity for that Batman. However, as time would go on, when they started doing the Tim Burton Batman movies and all that, for whatever reason, Batman was always a constant. Whether he was in Super Friends or whatever, he's just always a character that's always been around. I get it, you know what I'm saying? But and really, I could almost be a Superman fanboy in the same way because I remember the first original Superman, black and white Superman story. I used to watch that as a kid, but Batman for whatever reason became my guy. And it's frustrating that the Batman Superman keys are going to be super valuable when they fall into public domain. Bruh, look here. I don't think DC is ever going to let that happen. They might, but I doubt it. That's their cash cow. Say what you will about them two dudes. They money. They are money. In modern comics, they are money. In Golden Age comics, they are money. They are money. There's a Superman documentary that's going to come out, I think maybe in about a year from now, or sometime this year. It's about a guy who basically was a collector. He was very, very anal about his collection. And I'm talking about a guy that literally had like a trailer full of comic books, and his comic books were worth millions. And so they documenting the struggle and the stress of this family who has access to this collection now that the guy who owned the collection is gone. And I'm looking forward to seeing that, man. That's going to be pretty dope when it comes out. So, yeah. But anyway, look, that's all I want to talk about as far as that goes. You know what I'm saying? Collect what you love. Comics are a wonderful hobby. I won't go as far as say they're a terrible investment, but they are necessary. They're not an investment that you can 100% rely on. That's why it's called an alternative investment. Collectibles are great, but I don't know if you get rich. You may, and you may not. But collect what you love. If you love Milestone, collect Milestone comics. If you love Black independent, superheroes and that kind of thing, there are so many Black independent superheroes and brands and characters right now that you could walk away from regular collecting and casual collecting and just focus all your energy on that. There's enough people out here doing different things now that you could do that. That may not be the popular thing to say or the popular thing to do, but there are a lot of people out here, you know. I have long boxes full of independent books. There's all kind of stuff you find in the wild, whether we're talking about things like, you know, Quint Credible, things like Noble, things like Black, things like Crescent City Monsters, things like Black Sun Comics, all kind of stuff, man. All kind of stuff. Bang Bang says, I'm not holding my breath for Batman and Superman going up for public domain. No, I know you're not. I know you're not. Yeah, Dobbs versus agreed. Ton of indie comment. Listen, this is the best time to be a Black comic head. The best time ever. I know some people got issues with some of the stuff that's put out, and I get it. Some people make their money like that. Do you, bro? Do you, sis, if that's your ministry? It ain't mine. All I know is that you have not had this much content ever in the history of comic book collecting for a Black comic book head. For looking for a face like mine, there's something for everybody. There is something for everybody. C. Cole says all the milestone icons last issues were hardest to find. You know what's funny though? C. Cole, I'm trying to do that. I'm having trouble. I'm collecting all the static stuff. I got the icon runs, I got the Blood Syndicate runs, I got the Shadow Cabinet stuff, the Death Wish stuff. I got all kinds of milestone stuff. But the static stuff, man, some of the static books are hard to find. Those have been my challenge. I have all the hardware books, most of them. But some of the hardware stuff and some of the static stuff has been very hard to find. Bang Bang asked a question. He said, do you think Black comic writers should use Golden Age public domain characters? Absolutely. Absolutely. If there's an opportunity to do something, to reintroduce a character, absolutely. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I think that if somebody's letting something languish on the shelf or whatever, and there's a way to bring something back, absolutely. Lobo. I think Lobo, I'm not sure if Lobo has gone public domain yet, but I would love for somebody to reintroduce Lobo. I know that I think it was Butterfly was in the Savage Dragon 263. There was a mini story in the back of that book with Butterfly, the first Black superheroine, or one of the first, I should say. Yeah, I'm for that, to be honest with you. If there's a way to make characters that, you know, especially our characters, if you know, Black characters, if there's a way to reintroduce some of these characters, absolutely. Seco says static was the easiest for me, but I got them early on before the cartoon. Yeah. Now, Frustrated says, I think as soon as that Brown Hornet falls in the public domain, someone should immediately do a book for it. You know what's interesting? There's a guy who did a Brown Hornet universe comic book. It's not based on the Bill Cosby Brown Hornet, but there is the guy that has a Brown Hornet comic book universe. He put out a graphic novel. I have it in my collection. But yeah. But that's all I want to talk about as far as that go, guys. We're going to go ahead and transition to chat talk. This is the part of the show where you guys talk about whatever it is on your mind. You have questions, thoughts, concerns, whatever. This is where I look to you to spur the conversation. So, you know, what are you guys reading? What are you guys thinking about? You know, what's on your mind? That kind of deal. Someone did Brown Hornet. Isn't he from Colorado? I'm not sure where he's from. But yeah, that's the book there. That's the Brown Hornet, the Brown Hornet book. I have that book. I know that I think he's doing another one, if I'm not mistaken. But I have his first volume of that. So my read of the week, my favorite read of the week, I should say, was the Jon Stewart book. The latest Jon Stewart book. I enjoyed that book. Philip Kennedy Johnson is doing the doggone thing on that book. That's a very good book. If you're not reading John Stewart War Journal, if you like John Stewart, I'll just say it like that. If you enjoy John Stewart, you should be reading that book. That's a pretty good book, bro. For real. Zico said I got the Star Trek Echo Uhura cover for under $25. That's good. That's good. I have some Uhura books in my collection too. Man, love Lieutenant Uhura. Nyota Uhura. So, yeah. But yeah, man, that was my favorite read of the week. I read some other stuff too. The Black Panther book was cool. I still think that issue number 6 was the best one by far, as of now. But Evian was doing a pretty good job on that book. So, yep. What are you guys reading? What you think about? What's on your mind? And if you're here, please like the video, share and subscribe. Frustrated said, I didn't like the recent Black Panther issue. I won't say I didn't like it. I just didn't think it was the best. For whatever reason, I just think the issue 6 has been the best issue so far. You know, it's kind of weird. It's in a weird space right now. I don't know if it's transitioning to something. I'm not sure what's going on, which is weird because it's a new story arc. So it might be starting off kind of slow or whatever. But yeah. Bang said, do you ask comic book store to put black comics in their store? Should black comic companies need to reach out to more stores? I think it doesn't hurt. The thing is, if you have a good product, it'll sell. But the key is, do you have a good product and do people know about it? And so it's not as easy as putting a comic in a shop, because you could put a comic in a shop and it'll languish in your shop if nobody really knows about it. You know, so that's why promo, marketing, all that is kind of part of it or whatever. I think that it's if you're a black guy and you read black content and you want your shop to order it, pre-order's the way to go. And let your shop, let your shop owner, manager, whatever, know that I want this book. I want you to order this book. You may be the only person ordering that book, but he may, because you show an interest in getting the book, he may order an additional issue and put it on his shelf, and maybe somebody else will order the book. You know what I'm saying? But it's all about pre-orders at the end of the day. I think that the part of it, some people don't use the regular distributors. Like a lot of people are taking advantage of Diamond leaving Marvel and DC and going that way. But a lot of independents go through a distributor called Lunar. And, that Lunar is a distributor. You should try to get your books in shops through them. I'm not sure how Concrete or Advent or Godhood are doing their thing. But I remember asking someone about that. Somebody asked me to just talk to my LCS about putting a book in their shop. And one of the questions that the shop owner had for me was, do they distribute their book through Lunar? I was like, I don't know. I don't think so. And they weren't, And it's a lot to this game, man. Just it's not as easy as, buy my book or whatever. I think that part of it is, you have to, marketing and promotion goes a long way. Now, in our community or whatever, a lot of stuff we get a lot of our stuff word of mouth. You know what I'm saying? And we don't really need an advertisement in a magazine or whatever. But if it gets to our ears or whatever, right, and it gets our attention, it's cool. But to go to a shop and say, hey, you have to have good relationships with, That's the other thing too. If you have a good relationship with shop owners or whatever, they'll take a chance on it. But they're not going to lose their shirt behind because you like something. At the end of the day, they got to be able to sell it. If they got other black creators that buy their book, because here's the thing, we can't look at people that don't look like us to buy our books because they may think, number one, it's not for them. Number two, that they're not going to get something out of it. You know what I'm saying? That's just human nature. That's just the reality of things. So it's about relationships. It's about connecting the dots with people. Because if you can do both, I say do both. Learn Forever, thank you for the super chat. He says, I'm a Marvel DC old head with Philadelphia in the mix. This year, I want to read more independent black books with great writing like Barnes, Hickman, Priest, etc. Any recommendation? Look to collect at least 4 new books. That's what's up. I would say the antagonist will be one that you could pick up by Godhood. Acolyte, the Concrete Comics, is a good one. Zufan is an independent title. Y'all might want to Google that. Zufan, Zufan. Edda Comics, I think is the name of the comic book company. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that. Amistad says, why is it only Oro, the Storm, the only black warrior hero that called Stark out on the death of Dr. Bill Foster? Comic heads, true heads know why Mr. Luke Cage has never brought it up. No one else. Writers. That's all I can say, my brother. Writers. You know what's interesting? All of these characters have this this learning curve or this bell curve where if a writer on a particular character, Storm is one that, to me, Storm should be easy to write. Al Ewing seems to be the only one that's competent to write Storm for whatever reason. But she's never really had a solid 10 toes down type writer on her stuff. And so she's always written a certain way. And these writers, they write certain things based on Marvel's consent, permission, the editorial boards. A lot of this stuff is editorial stuff, man. It's like they write the way they write for whatever reason. Now, you asked the question, why is she the only black warrior here that called out Stark on the death of Dr. Bill Foster? I mean, I think that I could go there with something, but I don't really want to get into it. I don't want to do the gender war thing tonight. I'm just not doing that. Not doing that. But why was she the only one? I think that that may be a nod to the strength of black warrior, black women, who at times are more courageous, I would say. I don't know if that's the thought of the writers concerning this. I can't say 100%, but when I look at it, that's kind of what I see. I mean, Bill Foster, for whatever reason, has been a character that has been maligned. I think, a lot of people are talking about, his appearance, I guess, in the What If series, but no one has really cared about him. And think about it. Bill Foster or Black Goliath has only 5 comic books. And he's been out since the 70s. Only 5 comic books. He's been in books, Marvel 2-in-1 with the Thing, stuff like that, but he's only had a 5-issue mini in all these years. It's weird. Seacole brings up Blood Parish by Cullen Bunn. Frustrated Ministry of Compliance is a good series as well. Yeah. If you can stomach John Ridley being the writer, You should enjoy it. Yeah, that's Paul's favorite writer. NBA girl says, "You still looking for Little Rock files?" Yes, I am. I have not found it any shop anywhere in the DFW area, and I've been kind of all over. It's ridiculous, but yeah. Did Boom ever finish the Vicious Circle run? I think it was just those 2 issues, bro. I think it was just those 2 issues. That's it. I have stalked the creator online, and as far as I can tell, that was it. I don't think they're doing another one. They may later on, but it literally took a year for 2 books to come out. Because I'm not sure Vicious Circle. I just think it's take that long to draw. I mean, look, it's masterful work. I mean, the guys that are doing that did that book are definitely, man. I gotta say, probably the best art I've seen in a long time. In a long time. And I love Alex Ross. I love Marcus Williams. I love Jason Sean Alexander, but man, it's something about them pages in that book. Yeah. I was wondering, Bank says, I was wondering, do the creator of the character American get flack for looking like Homelands? I don't know. Can't answer that question. I'm not sure. It says, thanks to the recent issue of BP, part of me shifts to T'Challa with Monet St. Croix. That was an interesting issue, man. She was in the book for a minute, and then she was gone. That's all I can say. I mean, I don't know if we'll see her again. I'll say that. It was almost like a one-off, and she showed up at the house or at her dad's house or whatever. And I was like, what y'all doing here? And they kind of explained themselves. T'Challa explains himself along with Bisa. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I'm finna go. I got things to do. We just mutants out here fighting in the world. It's like, I'll see y'all later. My shop has a few. I can send one your way if you like. I would definitely appreciate that, NBA Live girl. Hit my man Derek up, or hit us up in Black Comic Lords. Send me a DM, I should say. Either one of us, send me Derek or Black Comic Lords a DM, and we'll make that arrangement for real. I appreciate that, NBA Live girl. Yeah, there's the email right there. blackcomiclords@gmail.com. It says, and editors too. I just found out James Tynion had to create Punchline, Ghostmaker, and others because editors would not let him use certain characters. Yeah, well. And the sad part is, particularly with Ghostmaker, because I think that character, well, actually, Ghostmaker, Clown Hunter are two of my favorite characters that he created when he was on the book. People talk about the Gardener, which is a black character. We ain't seen that character since that character came out. So I doubt if that character ever gets used again. So one of the podcast says, read only one book this week, Cobra Commander, and it was fire. Wow. I meant to ask you about that because I listened to your podcast and I heard you talk about it. And yeah. might have to go pick that up. Shout out Blur Forever for the super chat. So Marvel gave Mark Millar a list of heroes he could kill in Civil War series, and he chose Bill Foster. He said he regretted his choice later on. Does that answer your question, Amistad? Now, the funny thing is, characters have come back. Why they have not brought Bill Foster back, I don't know, bro. I just don't know I don't know what be going on in the heads of the people at Marvel. But clearly we're not in the room to advocate for some of these characters, man. It's kind of sad. That's why I hope one of the things I hope is that Ghostlight does not get shelved. I hope they really do something with Ghostlight. Seco says Gardner's coming back this year in Poison Ivy. Okay. All right. NBA says it's all love. Thank you for everything you guys do. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Salute to you. Darius Dudley by Scott Snyder and Jamal Igo from Kindle is coming out in comic book form in April. Okay. Good read. Okay. I don't know. Jamal Igo be getting gully in these streets, in these comic book streets, man. He got smoked for a few people, but he's a dope artist. His nephew is Black Goliath now. Okay. Okay. This week I did read the Avengers Twilight book. Avengers Twilight #1 came out. I brought the variant with the Scotty Young variant with Blade on the cover. Read that, and I enjoyed it for what it was, but it basically is a book about superheroes when they get old. What happens to superheroes when they get old? And I'm going to tell you, Captain America or Steve Rogers looked pretty rough, but man, Luke Cage looked real rough in that book. I thought black don't crack. He looked like an old broken down man in Avengers Twilight. Now, there's a Luke Cage book, not a Luke Cage book, but a book with Luke Cage in it called Timeless. And Luke Cage is brolic. I mean, he is brolic in that book, but he's nothing. He don't look nothing like that in the Avengers Twilight book. It's kind of scary, to be honest. Seacoast says Fast Freddy from Archie Comics appeared in Savage Dragon issues 170, 171. Not sure how they did that without Archie Comics taking an issue. They may have got permission. That's all I can think of. Bang Bang asked a question. Says, what was the point of Echo and why not just use a Kingpin series? Well, from what I understand, the people that they like Echo, they like the actress that does Echo, which is weird too because the way Echo ended, I hope I'm not offering any spoilers or whatever, but the way Echo ended, it kind of shows Kingpin's moving in the direction of becoming mayor. Because he's literally in a truck, he's literally in a car, and he's watching something on TV, and they're talking about the political landscape, I guess, in New York City. And so he kind of gets the idea, maybe to run for office or get into politics. We know in the comics, he becomes the mayor of New York City. So maybe that's the direction that they're going in. But we just found out that they're making this stuff that all the Netflix stuff that was on, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, all that's canon now, or MCU canon. So, yeah. Now, Styles so serious. Now, Rich, they just made room for Ghostlight on that shelf once February ends. I gotta have a half glass mindset. I gotta have a half glass mindset when it comes to this, bro. He said, okay, I'll wait for Avengers Twilight. I mean, again, I picked up the first issue. It was a pretty good issue. But it's just basically, as I get older, there are certain things that you learn to appreciate when you get older. And it's kind of funny because you look at this story and you kind of like you can see yourself in this story with just some of the facial expressions, some of the nuances that come with being older. I have an appreciation for the book in that regard. So, is it something that you need to run out of the store and go get? If you read it digitally, Amir, do that or whatever. It may not be your jam, but it's just basically about superheroes when they get old. Captain America's in this book, Luke Cage is in this book, and a few others, but Cap and Luke Cage are kind of the focus in this book. Not really my inquiry was since his death, other black and other warriors of color have not called out Starks and Riches. What is the projection or the protection they got? The only thing I can say is I don't necessarily know if they got any protection, but at the same time, it may not even register. Does that make sense? It may not even register to them at Marvel that this is an issue and we should deal with it. Now, as far as black superheroes and that kind of thing, I mean, let's just be honest. Okay, you have Falcon or Cap Falcon. I'm gonna call him Falcon. I'm gonna call him Falcon with the captain suit. You got him, War Machine. You're not gonna hear from him. You're not gonna hear from any of the black mutants. You're not gonna get Bishop to say anything. You're not gonna get you're certainly not gonna get Blue Marvel to say anything. They could call them all out. They all, in my opinion, that should be the guy to probably call them out. If there was a character that could call them out or whatever, because he would be considered a peer, it would be Adam Brashear. But they won't even put Adam Brashear in his own book. He's supposedly in the Thanos book. Is anybody reading the Thanos book, by the way? Because I'm not. But he's in the Thanos book. But if there's anybody that had the credibility or that could do it or whatever, it either had to be T'Challa, and T'Challa too busy wrapped up hiding in Wakanda from his own people, him or Adam Brashear. Is Avengers Twilight better than Midlife OG? Nah, it's not. It's not. Like I say, it's okay. I literally I'm going to be honest with you, Amir. I bought Avengers Twilight for the Scotty Young cover. Scotty Young's one of my favorite artists, and when he does black characters on his comic book covers, I generally grab them. It doesn't matter who it is, I'll just grab it. But he's got this variant with Blade on the cover with Captain America, and it's just I just love that dude's art. That's why I bought it. So since I bought it, I might as well read it. I'm not above buying a comic book for a cover. I'm shallow like that. I'll buy a comic book for a cover. Seco says, with as much damage as Namor and X-Men did to Wakanda, why haven't other black folks called both of them out for that? See, Cole, I'm going to tell you something my daddy told me when I was a little boy. He told me, he said, the Indian will never win until he writes a story. And what my father was basically saying to me about that is that, you know, if there are not black writers at Marvel that have or will be courageous enough to call out some of the stuff that goes on with the characters themselves, like Wakanda, like Namor, I don't know, bro. I do not know. Listen, Johnny Law had basically made Namor the savior of Wakanda in that run. I hate even talking about it. But John Ridley literally made Namor one of the saviors of Wakanda in the John Ridley run. And that cover, Derek, I don't know if I know you can hear me. If you could pull up the Black Panther, what issue was that? I don't know if it was Black Panther 14 or 13. It's a Black Panther comic book cover with Namor on the cover, draped in the Wakandan flag. That was probably the most disrespectful comic book cover. Yes, that one. I need y'all to see that. That is the guy that flooded Wakanda. And he's got a flag draped around. People want to know why the cult of Bast and want to know why the Black Panther comic book fan group and all the Black Panther fans around the world want to put a spear in somebody's chest. That right there, that is the most disrespectful thing. They put that out, dude. They put that. I need people to see. Look, I'm not a Black Panther fan. I am, but I'm not a fan like that. Paul say, "What are y'all doing?" See, Paul, you need context. You say you bringing up old stuff. I'm just saying, if they won't call out Stark and Richards for what they did to Bill Foster, what makes you think they're going to call somebody out for that? That's all I'm saying. This is what Marvel does. This is what Marvel does. And all I'm saying to my man in Brooklyn is, Brooklyn, they've been in the business of trolling Black people and Black characters for a long time. Y'all remember this cover. Now, maybe some of y'all were so despondent you stopped buying the books. But that's issue 14. He said, "Don't make me come on that live and cancel this." Why would you do that?
Oh, no. 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 No, 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 no.
It is what it is. That's all I can say, Paul. It is what it is. I'm saying that they have been doing this kind of stuff for the longest. And, the funny thing is, when John Ridley was writing this book, he said, how can Namor protect Wakanda when he's in jail? Well, he can't. When we're talking about this run, I'm talking about what happened in this run. And so, flag on the plane. Listen, all I'm doing, Paul, is offering social commentary, my brother. Is it Alex Ross did that too? Look, they listen. I rocks with Alex Ross. Alex Ross is from Lubbock, Texas. I rocks with Alex Ross. I don't even put that on Alex Ross. I know that they told Alex Ross to do this. Somebody, because there is no way that he said, hey, I'm going to make this cover. I'm going to put Namor with his funky wet chicken smelling behind and wrap the Wakandan flag around him. Listen, here's the funny part. The funny part is that by the time this issue came out, the Black Panther fans were so disgusted. They were so frustrated. They were so in their feelings that when this dropped, they were numb. They were numb. Did nobody, he said, and that's why this issue is still selling for cover price. Well, you're right. But it is a notable issue. It's a notable issue. I mean, I understand now his people still made the deal. That part. So that's a Marvel issue. But like I say, so many people were upset and disgusted with that. But by the time that book actually came out and that particular cover came out, the Black Panther fans had already checked out. They were like, "Man, I ain't buying this. This is trash." Blah 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 blah. They wouldn't even look at the cover. I know it's probably upsetting Paul to just really see that cover. So we don't want to trigger Paul anymore, y'all. We gonna. Thank you, Derek. Now, Pericles says, who, in your opinion, could have played Luke Cage back in the 1970s? Fred Williamson. I would say Fred Williamson. Either Fred Williamson or Jim Brown. Yeah. Fred Williamson or Jim Brown. Yeah. Now, Seacoast said, let's not forget DC Comics. Why hasn't Duke Comics gone after Joker for gassing his parents? Well, I don't know, bro. Rich, if you were given a chance to write a Marvel miniseries, which character would you choose just to have fun with? A Marvel character just to have fun with? If I'm just if I'm just having fun, any Marvel character? I would like to do, and these guys have been in books before, but I would love to do a Blade Wolverine book. Just put them on a mission together. They can't halfway stand each other. And just wreck shop. So now if I was writing something to really be serious with, I would love to do a Blue Marvel story. I would love to write a Blue Marvel story. But if I had to just do something for fun, I would either do a Blade and a Wolverine book, or maybe even a Deadpool and Wolverine book. We're going to probably get something like that when Deadpool 3 comes out. But I would love to just have some fun. That would be something that I would. Let's see. I'm sending you and Derek my therapy bills for intentional affliction. Look, bro, we look. All we doing is handling the timeline. That's all we doing. We should call him Falcon America. I mean, bro. You know, the Sam Wilson Captain America thing has not aged well. I'm interested to see how Captain America World New World Order, whatever they changed in the name to. I don't. The movie that Sam Wilson's supposed to be in coming out, I don't. Oof. We'll see. We'll see what they do with it. Or we can call him Black America. You know what? I could actually see I could actually see a superhero called Black America. Yeah. Coogler says I would choose Tony King to play Luke Cage. He was in the movie Bucktown and Hell Up in Harlem. I know Tony King. I know who Tony King is. He played Zach in Hell Up in Harlem. I know Tony King, yeah. Dark skinned brother, yeah. And I think he played football too, matter of fact. Blue Marvel's in the Magneto book this week. Okay, that's what's up. Resident 76 says Michael Jai White. You know what? Back in the 70s, bro. Stop. I'm logging off. Y'all stop that. Orenthal James. Yeah. I tell you, man. But look, I'm going to go and get out of here, man. It's been fun. So who won the game? Somebody tell me who won the game. Amir, you supposed to be letting me know who won the game. But I'm pretty sure KC probably won. But y'all tell me, what's the update? Somebody give me the update. Who won the game? Because I know the game is over. The Bills blew it. Bills kicker blew it 27-24 KC for the win. Yeah, well. And wait till next year. It's hard to beat them boys. Now, it's going to be a good matchup, man. They're going to play the Ravens in Kansas City. I ain't mad at that matchup. I'm not mad at that matchup at all. Ravens in Kansas City. And then we got Detroit and who was the other team? Detroit and 49ers. Yeah. It's going to be a great Super Bowl. I don't know who's going to win, but we'll see. 27-24. That's what's up. H&H Comics says, who was it that wanted Black Comic Laws to be back at the end of the closing? If you are that person, pay attention to the end. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and give the benediction. Before we do, we want you to support your favorite comic book series by pre-ordering your books before the final cutoff date. We also ask that you subscribe and get a pull list. If you want Black books in your comic shop, request them. Also, coming real soon, August the 17th, 18th, 2024, Atlantic Comic Con. It's all ages convention celebrating comics, pop culture, cosplay, and creators alike. That's going to happen in Norfolk, Virginia. So if you guys get an opportunity, go down to Atlantic Comic Con. A lot of us in Black Comic Lords are going to make the trip down there. So come holler at your boy. I'm pretty sure I'll be there, Lord willing. Yeah, so that's what's up. And check out our playlist. Wednesday wrap up, of course. That's when the crew gets together and talk shop. Wakanda Whiskey and Blurredom. That's when Paul and Mark get together, sip a little something, and talk about comics and all things Blurredom. And of course, your boy is here on Sunday night. Real Talk with Rich. Check out our round table. We do stuff with milestone independent creators, and we have some awesome interviews like Tim Fielder, Ken Quattro, among others. So yeah. Before we get out of here, we got one last super chat. Frustrated hits us for the collection plate. $5 super chat. Thank you. Let's hit them with it.
Donation. It's a donation. I thought it was the trash. Don't be hitting on me.
Thank you.
Yup. That's what's up. Styles So Serious says Baltimore, Detroit Super Bowl. Possibly. 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 We'll see. We'll know next week. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and give the benediction. The benediction comes from the 107th Psalm, verses 1 and 2. It reads, "Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom he has redeemed from the hand of the enemy." From the stronghold that is Black Comic Lords and Black Superheroes Forever, it's your boy Rich. Until next time, we say peace. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week. We'll see you Wednesday night, Lord willing. We out.